The mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, is throwing a bit of a tantrum because he wants British taxpayers who don't live in Greater Manchester to give him more money. Yeah, good luck with that, Andy. Oh, Andy. We talk a lot about Sadiq Khan on this channel. It's time to talk about Andy Burnham. Let's talk about this lovely hypocrite who has been lying to the people in Greater Manchester for a long time now. He decided to go on Twitter, talk about how a number of socialist local authorities and councils have been going bankrupt, which we already reported on this channel over the last few days. The last one was Birmingham, which is, by the way, the largest local government in the continent of Europe. Birmingham City Council. They're also going bankrupt, and we had so many others as well that we have reported. Croydon was another one as well. Now, Sadiq Khan has been blaming the central government on various issues in London. Andy Burnham has also been blaming central government for various issues in Greater Manchester, but he's actually talking about the whole country now. Andy says, Labour councils have run out of money. Conservative councils have run out of money. Okay. The main underlying reason? National government's disrespect for local government and failure to fund it. It's gone on for decades under all parties, but has hit new levels in the last one. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so fundamentally, the system is broken. The model doesn't work because we live in a centralized country. Everything is mostly centralized, and we have a fake localism. In the name of decentralization, we call it devolution. It's nonsensical because it's not really decentralization. They are creating secondary centralized bodies. In Holyrood, obviously in Wales, and in Greater Manchester, you've got Mayor Andy Burnham, Greater London. These bodies are not really localism. But even local councils is not true localism, because fundamentally it should not be the job of central government to fund local governments. The taxation system should completely change. Obviously, I'm a radical. I want more decentralization in a proper way, not the current system. These local, the city mayors are not working. The system is not working because the model is broken. So what you have to do is to make sure that that even the tax system is more decentralized rather than centralized if you want to have that system. Now, Martindorpy of GB News said in response to Burnham, how about we get rid of all local mayors, including London? It seems to have been a disaster. Devolved power just means more power to tax locals and ignore their concerns, a trend that can only get worse thanks to net zero taxes. I would actually correct Dorpney on one thing. It's not just taxing local people and ignoring them. The devolved administration as a concept, the devolution means you are taxing non-local people across the country to get power for yourselves. For example, Homes Are Useless and his administration is being funded by people in England and Wales and Northern Ireland, mostly in England, because that's most of the tax revenue is coming from. Same applies to Mark Drakeford. Same applies to Sadiq Khan. Same applies to Andy Burnham. So Andy Burnham is now going around saying, well, we need British people from across the country, from Lincolnshire to Cornwall, everywhere, and Edinburgh, they have to give me more money. Instead of actually having a system where people in Greater London will pay and they get something back in return, the services that they deserve. Make sure the system works. So he actually wants us to pay for Manchester. Well, I don't want to. Emma Rock said, no, mate, the problem is down to your Lord Blair, who opened the floodgates to mass uncontrollable immigration. There are way too many people on this island for public services to manage, and in some areas of a dense mass immigration, there are masses not paying income tax and council tax, so the amount paying per person needing services is unsustainable. That is the reason for everything break. That was a spot on at the end about the tax system, especially council tax. There's so many people in each area who are living in those areas. But that means they are using the public services, everything, including the garbage and obviously the rubbish collection and everything else, right? But they're not paying it. They're not paying for the service. They're not paying the income tax. That system is also broken. But having said that, the burden on public services, even if they do pay the taxes, is still huge because the numbers who've been coming into the country over the last few decades is not sustainable. That's one of the biggest issues. But Andy Burnham is a bit of a hypocrite. He flip-flops every single day. He's also, obviously, he loves his double standards. He says he's the god of morality, right? But he was very much into attacking the Tory government, which I do as well. I'm not really into the Tory government either. But he's been attacking Tory government based on the expenses, scandals, and everything else. Well, let's not forget, this was the same Andy Burnham who rent out his own London flat for around £18,000, then claimed £17,000 a year for another flat on expenses, on public money. So he had a flat, he decided to give it away, rent it out, £18,000. So he was getting rent money from that. Then as an MP, he used our money, the expenses system, to then get £17,000 to pay rent again. And this guy became the mayor of Greater Manchester. Now, about his flip-flopping, this is brilliant, because we were talking about immigration a couple of minutes ago. This is quite fascinating. In 2010, this is thanks to Guido going through all the quotes. In 2010, he told the Telegraph that his Labour Party was in denial on immigration. We were in denial, Burnham said. We were behind the issue all the time, and the myths were allowed to develop. There is still an ambivalence among some in Labour about discussing immigration. I've been accused of dog whistle politics for doing so. So Andy Burnham, in that moment, in 2010, said, well, I've been criticising mass migration and, it's not really helping the border crisis. And apparently it's dog whistle politics. It's not, guys. I'm Andy Burnham. Interesting enough, the same Andy Burnham, 5 years later, in August 2015, at the Mirror leadership hustings, when he was trying to become a leader, Labour leader, he was happy to attack David Cameron, and he accused him of dog whistle politics. He said, it's disgusting to have a Prime Minister who refers to a swarm of migrants, and it confirms that there is no dog whistle that these Bullingdon boys won't blow. He literally did the same thing that he was accusing others of doing. He was saying that his Labour colleagues are claiming that Andy Burnham is doing dog whistle politics, but then he literally accused David Cameron of doing the same thing. Brilliant. Next, September 2015, a month later, he argued for tougher immigration controls. He said, for too long, we have argued that free movement across Europe benefits everyone and affects all areas equally. That's just not true. Labour hasn't faced up to that, and that's why we look out of touch. I mean, is this some sort of weird version of, and it's some sort of condition that you have that you change every 2 seconds rather than having your mood changing every month? This is completely chaotic, what's going on in his brain, because the guy has no values, has no principles. That was in September 2015, right? Now, let's go to the following month. He said, I am not responsible for all Labour Party merchandise. I didn't purchase one. This was about the Labour Party had this mug saying controlled on immigration. He said, I didn't purchase one of those mugs myself, and I'm not particularly proud of them. He literally, the month before, he was saying we need to have controlled migration. The Labour Party then decided to produce some merchandise with some mugs, coffee mugs, saying controlled on migration. And then he basically said, no, that's disgusting. That is politically incorrect. You literally, a month ago, you were saying we need controlled immigration. Anyway, this was now in June 2016. He then argued against an immigration cap again. He said, the Conservative Party are realizing it's a mistake to put an arbitrary number on the whole issue. It is much more complicated than that. The numbers will go up and down according to the current health of the economy. So, what are you actually for, Andy Burnham? I just want to know this. I know you're against the Tories. That's just easy. A lot of people are. But it's not enough. A lot of people are against the Tories. You have to be pro something. You have to be actually providing some sort of solution. You absolute idiot. Anyway, we're going to keep you guys posted on what's going on in Greater Manchester and across the country. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.